Was ist los? It's your German boy here, and welcome back to If My Heart Had Wings. Now, the last episode was a bit of a bittersweet one, because as the days to Amane's departure ticked down, we did decide to throw her a little bit of a going away party to send her off on a high note. And at the same time, our winch, which broke a couple days ago, finally got fixed up. So we might finally be able to achieve our true goal here before that. But I don't exaggerate when I say this, the clock is ticking fast. So let's jump right into this and see what happens, shall we?
何か面白いものがあるかもと、こっそり中に忍び込んでみた。初めてあれを見たときは、なんか変なものがあるなって程度で、大して興味もなかった。それが180度変わったのは、あの写真を見つけてから。一冊のノートに大事に挟んであったそれは、とても綺麗な雲の写真。こんな美しい空があってもいいの？
It does.And I think we're gonna get to see it.
ってくらいグレートな空。けど、なんか変だ。なんでだろう。この写真。あ、わかった。そう。その写真は雲の上から撮影されていたのだ。挟んであったノートのページにはこう書かれてあった。なんという幸運だろう。我々は風が浦に突如出現したモーニンググローリーを偶然にも飛ぶことができた。それはもう奇跡と言ってもいい素晴らしい体験だった。モーニンググローリー？飛んだ？そのノート、高校日誌を読み進めるうちに、僕はどんどんのめり込んでいった。雲の写真は、このガレージを使っていた人たちが、グライダーという飛行機に乗って空の上から撮影したもので、そのグライダーにはエンジンはついてなくて、風に乗って雲の上まで飛ぶんだという。一体どんな気分だろう。風に乗って空を飛ぶのは、あの美しい雲の回廊を渡るのは。そうして思いを巡らせたとき、もう僕の心は決まっていた。そこに打ち捨てられたグライダーを修復し、雲の彼方を目指そうと。次の日、僕は早速そのグレートな計画を親友に打ち明けた。
And that's where it all began.
日も暮れてきたし、今日はこの辺にしときますか。
I don't know, what do you feel like? Ageha said as I was taking a breather after returning from a flight.We can go one more time, can't we? We still have a little time before the sun goes down completely.
この辺り街灯なんてないし、日が落ちる前でもかなり暗くなるよ。そしたら着陸の時危ないじゃん。
She's right. When we came back just now, it was hard to see the runway and my depth perception was messed up.
というわけで、今日はもうおしまい。小鳥撤収するよ。
Alright. Ageha calls Kotori on her cell phone. Right now, Kotori's by the winch.
今日はもう終わりか。
Yeah. Perfect wind for trainings just started blowing though.
しょうがない。事故を起こすわけにはいかないからな。
No, we don't. That would actually kinda suck.As she speaks, Amane looks toward the eastern sky. There is the orange glow of sunset, same as always. Looks like the sign has appeared again. The sky indicated that nothing would happen the following morning. I've watched her from the side while she looked to the sky, and her face seemed filled with impatience. Since the winch came back, we've been doing as many test flights as possible, every day. There are adjustments to be made to the glider, but the main objective is for Amane and I to do the flight training.
今日、かなり高くまで上がってたね。どのくらい行った？
Around 600 meters.
ほう、記録更新だね。
Nice.
だいぶつかめてきたんじゃない？
I guess so. Yeah, but it's still hard to ride the thermals. The thermals are the vertical drafts formed by air heated by the Earth's surface. They occur more easily in areas where the temperature above the ground rises easily, like soil or asphalt. By catching these thermals, we can fly to higher altitudes. However, the thing we're chasing is the wind, which is invisible. It's not easy to catch. Even after riding it well, the wind is fickle. The flow and strength are not stable, and may suddenly disappear. But if we don't get good at riding it, we won't be able to fly high enough to reach the passage of clouds. Amane looks down with a blank expression, and without even attempting to eat it, plays with her pasta with her fork. You didn't like it?
ああ、いや、そうじゃないんだ。ちょっと考え事をしてただけだ。
She gave a faint smile and prodded at her pasta. I looked towards Ageha and shrugged. And Kotori was next to Amane, absorbed in reading the book that she had borrowed from the library. Why don't you do that after you finished eating? Yeah, you don't want to mess that up, because I'm pretty sure the library charges fees for that. And, you know, we gotta devote all our money to the club project. It's no good. She's not listening. And Kotori, for a long time, has been finding out about Morning Glory. Since we started the test flights, Kotori, being disabled, has had nothing to do except operate the winch. That's why she seems to be thinking that she's useless. She was really involved in the construction of the main wings, too, so that's not true at all. But because of this, we found out about something important. A few days ago, after the farewell party.
オーストラリアのバークタウンで起こる気象現象について書いてあるわね。
Hibari translated from the book written in English after being pestered by Kotori. It's a book about Morning Glory. According to this, the clouds that appear above Australia can have a total length of approximately 1,000 kilometers. It's not just one cloud that appears, it can be many at the same time. When the sun comes up, the temperature increases and the clouds disappear. There's only about 2 hours before that happens. For the local people, this is a sign of rain, and raging winds blow beneath the clouds. The altitude of the clouds is about 1 or 2 kilometers. If you can ride the vertical drafts well, it is possible to reach those altitudes.
海風と陸風が衝突してできる前線が発生の原因なんですって。夜になると気流が冷えて下降し、逆転層が。
メカニズムが分かれば予想は立てやすくなるけど、風が浦とオーストラリアじゃ地形も気象も違いすぎるわね。
もっとこう、分かりやすい前兆とかないのかしら。ここにそれらしいことが書いてあるわ。
Hibari translates as she reads.
北から湿った強い風が吹き、夕暮れ時、東の空が紫色になる。パブの冷蔵庫に水滴ができたら、翌日起こるんですって。この辺りにパブってあったかしら。
Calm down. This is talking about Australia.
気温が低く湿度が高い早朝に発生することが多いですって。
気温が低く湿度は高く、 前日の夕方、東の空が紫色に、か。ちょっと待って！
Was? And Kotori excitedly opens a page in the old notebook. It's a flight log written by one of the old members.
ここ見て！
And Kotori opened it to the page that explains the signs that were seen on the day the photograph was taken. In other words, the day that the morning glory had occurred. It seems that they did a test on that day, and there was detailed information on the weather conditions written in the flight log.
テストをした16時頃の気温は23度。真夏の日中にしちゃ随分低いわね。その後、日暮れから強い風が吹いて肌寒いくらいだったって書いてあるわ。
This was written in the remarks column. They went through the effort of writing it, so that must mean there was quite a big change in air temperature. As for the color of the sky, it doesn't say. The important thing is, the log was written without the knowledge that today, morning glory will occur. They wrote this without realizing that this was a sign of the morning glory.
これはかなりのヒントなんじゃない？ありがとう、
Yeah,
お姉ちゃん。
it is a promising lead.
どういたしまして。
Since then, Kotori's been checking the weather forecast every night and reading books about weather like she's trying to become a weather forecaster or something. So, the three signs that indicate the coming of a morning glory are as follows. Eins. The day before, a warm, strong wind blows, the temperature is high enough to cause water droplets to appear on a fridge in a pub. Zwei. At dusk, on the day before, the eastern sky is purple. Drei. It's much colder than most summer days. Perhaps this information isn't just nonsense, and this is all we had to go on.
ねえ葵、今日の当番って誰だっけ？
I'm not sure, actually. Every day, we take it in turns to wake up before dawn to see whether or not those clouds have appeared. Even if there are no signs the day before. Whose turn is it today? You know what? I think I'll let Kotori do it. Isn't it Kotori? Kotori lifts her head as I say that.
うん、そうよ。
Yeah, it is. Well then, I'd better quickly have a bath and go to bed. If the morning glory does come, we have to fly right away. That's why we covered the glider on the runway and just covered it up with a sheet. Even if it doesn't occur, we can still start doing test flights from early in the morning. It's a little rough, but it doesn't look like it's gonna rain, so there isn't much we can do. There's no way we can let this 1 in a million chance pass us by, especially as the clock ticks down like this. I've opened my eyes. I close my eyes and roll over in bed, and it doesn't feel like my sleepiness is coming back. Is it the excitement? The adrenaline rush? I sit up and open the curtains. The sky's dark. I can see the stars twinkling. I went to take a look outside, and in the middle of the garden, I saw Kotori staring up at the sky. How is it?
葵くん。ううん、何もなさそう。
I see. I look at the sky. All I can see is the shining stars, and no sign of the clouds we're looking for. It was quiet. So quiet, it felt like we could hear the stars twinkling.
来ると思う？
I don't know. Maybe.
来てくれたら最高の夏休みになるのに。
Yeah. But even if it doesn't happen, to me, it will still be the best summer holiday ever. Summer holidays are always fun, but this was so fun it could damn well be the best ever.
私もこんな気分になるのは久しぶり。
ん？
夏休みが終わるのが寂しい。
Is there anyone who doesn't feel like that? Kotori shakes her head.
足を怪我してからずっと、私にとって夏休みの終わりは新学期の始まりだった。また嫌でしょうがない学校が始まっちゃう。だから終わってほしくなかった。ただそれだけ。けど今は違うの。夏休みが楽しいから。楽しすぎて終わってほしくない。
Summer will come around again. As long as we're alive, dozens more times. But this year, the best summer holiday ever will only happen once. It's not good, is it? For something to be too fun? I think I'm gonna be burned out in the second term. As I speak, Kotori
私
giggles.
ね、ヒスカのこと自分の友達みたいに思ってたの。
Your friend? And Kotori nods her head, seemingly quite embarrassed.
ヒスカが高校日誌にいつかここからいなくなるって書いてたの覚えてる？
Yeah, I remember. The same kind of thing was written several times.
私ね、あれを読んで自分のことみたいに思ってた。私も同じように感じてたから、いつか自分はここを去るんだって。
And Amane's leaving soon too. There, eventually. Kotori, who's disabled and didn't really fit into the class, was seriously thinking about quitting school around the time I came to the dormitory. For a long time, she felt like she had to get out of there, and felt the same thing strongly when she read Isuka's flight log. And then you copied her by making that list? The things I want to do list that Isuka wrote. Something she pursued herself.
うん。あの頃、私、友達なんて一人もいなかったから、イスカの日記を読んで、彼女を友達みたいに思って、それで、寂しさを紛らわせてたの。今思うと、バカみたいよね。
Nine. That's not true. Because of you feeling like that, we're here now.
うん。だから私、あまねちゃんとはまた別で、イスカの夢を叶えられたらって思ってる。友達として。うん。
I also have special feelings about Isuka. She was Amane's best friend and left the glider behind for us. Also, I now know that to Kotori, who was once so lonely, she was like an invisible friend as well. To Amane, Kotori and I, Isuka is a beloved friend. That's why I feel like I owe a lot to Isuka.
恥ずかしいこと告白しちゃった。
Then why do you seem so happy?
なんでだろう。葵くんにはつい話しちゃうんだよね。
Is that because we're close friends as well? I said it, but Kotori, sitting there in her wheelchair, looks downwards.
そうかも。
Oh. She seems kind of awkward and embarrassed, but happily accepts me using the phrase close friend.
私がまだここにいて、 こうして素敵な夏を過ごせてるの全部葵くんのおかげ。ありがとう。
Sure. I meekly reply, but inside I answered, that's my line. If it weren't for Kotori, I never would have come into contact with the glider. Even if I had come across it, it definitely wouldn't have been as much fun. It's dawn. The eastern sky had a kind of hazy brightness. Shall we get breakfast ready? Everyone will be getting up soon. Then, another busy day will begin.
お腹すいた。
We'll fix that.
みんなまだ帰ってきてないのか。頑張るな。冷蔵庫になんかないかな。ガッガッ。チッスン、ハット先輩。どうしたの？あんたもお腹すいた？ガッガッ。餌じゃないのか。じゃあ水浴び？ガー。そうかそうか。今日は涼しいね。これなら下着じゃなくても平気だわ。ぐわぐわ。
Good God, Kaneko, you're a fucking basket case.
はいはい、水浴びね。いくよー。ぐわー。気持ちよさそうでいいね。私も後でシャワー浴びよっと。クワックワックワッ。ん？ねえ、ハット先輩。なんだろう、あれ。あ、ほら、なんか空が。
No way. No way. Could it be?
うっすら紫色してない？
The direction is...
東よ。ってことは
The eastern sky was bluish purple. We were tidying up after finishing flight training for the day, but we stopped working to gaze at the eastern sky.
予兆なのかな？
This was the moment we'd been waiting for, but we were careful not to get our hopes up yet. We don't know, but until now, it hasn't been that color.
さあ、どうだろう。注意して見てたことないもん。気温は25度。昨日より3度低いわ。湿度
Oh,
はや
that's
や高め。
promising.
風も出てきてる。これはもしかするかも。
Oh, we all look towards Amane. Amane looks to the eastern sky. She was just standing there quietly. While looking at the signs that indicated that the phenomenon would occur, she seemed to be assessing the situation. Or maybe she was praying.
うん。
It might occur tomorrow morning. There are 2 days left of the summer holidays. This was the time limit for Amane's activities with the soaring club.
先輩。わかってる。うん。大丈夫だ。
I gave Kotori a prod and spoke quietly to her. The second in charge should take care of occasions like this.
そうだった。おほん。みんな、聞いて。モーニンググローリーは明日の朝、必ず現れる。そう信じましょう。だから、今夜は当番関係なく、全員夜明け前に起きて、フライトの準備をするわよ。ああ
Game on! This could be it, guys. It's 4 a.m. Don't make too much noise. Kaneko is still sleeping.
了解。了解。ああ
Huh? Kotori!
ごめん。
We got up at the usual time for people whose turn it is to watch the dawn sky and carried out our things outside the dormitory. There's still 1 hour before the morning sun rises. We have to complete our launch preparations before then.
ずいぶんと冷えるわね。
Not a fan.
薄着だとちょっと肌寒いくらいね。
Amane, will you be alright in those clothes?
うん、大丈夫だ。
ビシッとしてよね、あまねちゃん。これから雲の上まで飛ぶんだから。
Kotori, you're speaking really loudly. Ageha, how's the sky?
よくわかんない。
The sky was covered in darkness, and it wasn't possible to see with the naked eye whether or not there were any clouds. Anyway, let's hurry. If we hang out for too long, we won't make it in time for dawn. We gotta get this done. Yet. We reach the runway and immediately begin work on the assembly. Right aileron.
オッケー。
Left aileron.
問題なし。
Next is the elevator. While this is going on, I eat a rice ball that I'd made the night before. I have to do something about my empty stomach.
あまねちゃん、さっきからどうしちゃったの？
すまない。別に何でもないんだ。
大丈夫よ。きっとうまくいくから。
いや
はい、おにぎり食べて元気出して。
This is it.
ありがとう。
葵、いけそう？
I don't know. In the training, I finally figured out how to catch the thermals. The highest we've flown in training has been 600 meters. We won't be able to reach the morning glory at altitudes like that. Suddenly, a strong wind blows.
葵くん、だいぶブレーキを出してくれ。
Got it! Then the gliders on the ground, lift will be created if wind hits the main wings. With winds this strong, if we're careless, the aircraft might start floating upwards. That's why we make use of the equipment used to reduce lift during landing. If the lift is at a low level, it'll be okay even if the wind hits it.
急に風が出てきたわね。モーニンググローリーの影響かしら。
It's said in the book that when this occurred in Burketown, Australia, raging winds were blowing beneath the clouds. We'll need to use a crosswind launch. Of course, when strong winds blow from the side, the glider will be blown with them, so we need to use a special technique for takeoff. We haven't practiced it much, but we should be okay.
見て、夜が明けてきた。
Here we go! The eastern sky became dimly bright. Also, the conditions of the sky became clearer.
あそこにある雲。
Could that be? No way. Is that? Dawn hadn't broken yet, and the sky was still gloomy, but we could see the outline of the clouds. These clouds could be called morning glory, and were fine and delicate, and looked like they could disappear any minute.
小鳥、発行準備。ラジャー。
We gotta do this. Everyone quickly got into position. Amane and I got our seats into the cockpit.
Yokokaze 横風が強いぞ、葵くん。
Okay, I'll use full rudder from the start. I push down on the rudder pedal even though they're not moving yet. If we're hit with a crosswind during takeoff, the glider's nose will face into the wind. This is called the weather vane effect. By turning the rudder in the opposite direction, we can reduce the weather vane effect. However, because the rudder has almost no effect until we pick up speed, we need to push the rudder pedal before launch and gradually release it as we accelerate. This is the first time we've taken off in such strong winds. This kind of feels like a rehearsal, but we have to do it.
Runway is clear!
Ageha came to let us know that there were no obstructions on the runway. Then, moving round to the side of the glider, she lifts up the left wing, a little higher than usual. The wind is blowing from the front right direction. If the wings are horizontal during takeoff, the wind from the side will go under the right wing, messing up the balance. That's why we need to launch with the right wing a little lower to stop the crosswinds from going under it. To maintain the bank angle at which Ageha is tilting it, I move the yoke to the right to operate the right aileron. Launch preparations complete. Here we go, Amane! Amane replied nervously. I give the thumbs up signal to Ageha outside.
発行準備完了！小鳥、上げて！
Here we go. The moment Ageha gave the signal, the winch started moving as if it couldn't wait. Can't blame it. The glider steadily accelerates. I pull back on the yoke.
頼んだわよ、葵！
Leaving behind Ageha, who was holding up the wing and running with us, the glider floated into the air. Whoa! Ah! The glider wobbled like crazy when the crosswind hits it.
大丈夫？葵くん、茜ちゃん！
We're okay. We've leveled out.
なんとか無事だ。レジャー！
As we accelerate, the ailerons start working, and we're able to maintain the bank according to the crosswind. Tilting the rudder in the direction of the incoming wind, the glider steadily rises into the sky. Ugh! Our airspeed is really fast! We're climbing much more quickly than usual. Even if it looks like we're flying at the same speed, if the headwind is strong, the speed of the wind hitting the glider, in other words, the airspeed is different. When the airspeed is high, lift increases, which causes the aircraft to rise. Today, the wind is strong. The power of the winch pulling us is against the power of the main wings lifting us up, causing the glider to shake. Releasing! Just before passing over Kothari's head, who's operating the winch, I release the tow rope. Freed from the force that was holding us down, the glider was suddenly thrown up into the air. I immediately turn around to check that the tow rope has been released.
離脱確認。離陸は成功だ。
Okay. Wunderbar. I check the altitude on the altimeter. We're currently 300 meters above the ground. Then, I looked up to the sky above. Outside the dome-shaped canopy, all I could see was sky. A sky changing from night to morning. Indigo, orange, pale yellow. The morning sun paints a complex gradient as far as the eye can see. There, in the middle, a straight line of clouds stretched out. There it is. Amazing. It felt like I was being sucked into it as I stared at the spectacle.
Hmm? 何かしら、あのクマ。あ、ほんとだ。なんだろう。不思議な雲だね。まるで誰かが筆で描いたみたい。だとしたら、達筆ではないわね。そんなことないよ。すごく綺麗だと思うな。お上手。相変わらず何でも褒めるわね。と、ねえ、姉さん、あれ。 あ、何か飛んでる？あれ、もしかして。
Oh, it could be, alright.
この前ここで見たグライ
Oh, you know it.
ダー。何してるのかしら、こんな朝早くから。飛んでるじゃないかな。それは見ればわかるわよ。そうじゃなくって。じゃあ、あそこ行こうとしてるんじゃないかな。あそこ？
Yeah.
ほら、あの雲のところ。
Das ist wunderschön.
すごく綺麗。うん。不思議ね。どうしてあんなものができるのかしら。ほんと、奇跡みたい。でも、あの写真のとはちょっと違わない？これからもっと大きくなるのかしら。
Possibly. I mean, it could, or it couldn't.
葵くんたちは今どこ？ちょっと待って。双眼鏡で見てみる。あ、いた！どこ？ほら、湖の上。今、キラって光った。
Whoa! Clutching the yoke, I somehow managed to maintain our position. The airflow is getting really rough. It's taking everything I've got just to keep our position. On days where the airflow is stable, I only need to hold onto the yoke lightly. However, in these rough skies, the glider is shaking all the time, and we don't know when it'll be hit with sudden winds. I need all my concentration as the glider takes the wind.
大丈夫か、葵くん。
I'm fine. More importantly, can you search for some thermals, Amane?
わかった。
Amane looks outside the canopy to search for places where thermals may occur. Clouds are the markers used for finding thermals. Clouds are formed when the warm upward drafts are cooled in the sky. Therefore, thermals are usually below them. As I watch the variometer, I fly based on guesswork. The variometer is one of the instruments in the glider, and it tells us whether it's rising or descending based on atmospheric pressure. If there's a sudden change in the variometer, it's possible that we've entered a thermal without realizing. There's no reaction, huh? The reaction from the variometer was slow, and the glider was gradually descending.
あった、雲だ。
Amane called from the front seat. There!
予知の方角。
Roger that! I pulled the yoke to the right, pushed the rudder pedals, and the glider turned. The rudder feels heavy! And then the ailerons and the rudder take strong winds, they become heavier, but that means their effect is stronger. Is that it? In my field of vision, I can see the small cloud Amane had found. It was a small, fine, elongated cloud. Please let this work! I feel like I'm praying as I fly under the cloud. We continue for a while, and we don't seem to be hitting any thermals. After all, we can't see them, so we don't really know if they're there or not. Where is it? I go to turn so that we can head towards another area, then... Whoa! Suddenly, the left wing lifts up, tilting the aircraft.
葵くん、今の。
Yeah, I know! This wasn't the feeling of being shaken by a crosswind. A rising thermal grazed the wings. Oh yeah. I quickly turned the rudder to the left. The variometer reacts. The glider was rising! We've entered a thermal! As we confirmed that, I continued to turn the glider. Thermals extend upwards through the atmosphere like a pillar. In most cases, the strongest lift is in the center, known as the core. Normally, it gradually gets weaker the further you go towards the outside. That's why if you want to climb higher, you have to get as close to the core of the thermals as possible. I turned the glider to search for the core. The variometer tells us that we're rising. They're getting closer and closer to the core.
コアに入ったみたいだ。
Yes, said Amane as she looked at the instruments. I try to keep the glider circling in the same area in an attempt to rise in the core of the thermal. Huh? Alright, we're climbing! Through the seat, I felt that the glider was rising. It's jokingly called the ass meter, but you can feel all sorts of G-forces through the seat, and is one of the sensations that are important for piloting a glider. That's because the thing that informs you of the glider's reaction the quickest is not the instruments, it's the seat that's in direct contact with your body. About getting the positive response and not wanting to lose it, I paid close attention while operating the controls.
上昇してる。うまくサーマルに乗れたみたいね。葵くん、葵くん。
We freaking did it.
葵くんは今手が離せない。あまねちゃん、うまくいってるみたいね。ああ、現在サーマルに乗って上昇中。高度500メートルに到達。
Yes, we're getting close to our limit.
気流が荒れてるみたいですけど、上空はどうですか？かなり荒れているが、でも大丈夫だ。葵くんが頑張ってくれてる。なんとか順調みたいね。そのまま雲の上まで行っちゃって。そうしたいのは山々だが。どうかしたんですか？もう少し上昇したらこのサーマルから離れる。どうして？リフトが弱くて上昇速度が遅い。これじゃ間に合わない。
We won't be able to rise any higher here. The G-forces that felt so strong at first were now getting weaker. We'd risen to a certain extent, but we were now just maintaining the current altitude. If we stay here like this, the thermal might grow, and we might be able to gain stronger lift. Well, if you think about the time, it's quite likely that will happen. This is because thermals get bigger as the sunlight hits the Earth, which means quicker than the air. And at this level of heat, the air close to the ground warms up, causing thermals to occur. Since last night was so cool, when the morning sun hits the Earth, more and more strong thermals will start rising. But we don't have time for that. If we wait a little longer for the sun to come up completely, the morning glory will disappear. We're getting out of this thermal.
わかった。
As we look up to the morning glory in the distance, we flew out of the thermal.
だいぶ流されているな。
Thermals are often thought to extend straight up like a pillar through the air, but actually, they don't go straight up. In the same way that smoke is blown by the wind, thermals twist when they hit by wind from the side. While we were climbing as a thermal that was leaning to one side because of the wind, we've moved further away from the morning glory. The morning glory doesn't just stay in one place. It's rotating as it rolls, moving across the lake. If it gets too far away, then we'll have no means of catching up with it other than falling to increase our propulsion, which makes things difficult. Increasing speed! I pushed the yoke forward, pointing the nose downwards. While sliding down on the air, the glider accelerates. Whenever the nose is pointed downward, the ground always comes into view. Amane, who's scared of heights, stifles her screams. Amane will be okay. This glider will not fall, and I'll make goddamn sure of that.
落ちてる。嘘、そんなことないよ。ちゃんと飛んでる。 でも、また高度が下がってるわ。サーマルを出たのね。この状況なら賢明な判断かも。サーマル？ねえ、サーマルって何？なんでもないわ。でも、このままじゃ落ちる一方よ。次のサーマルを早く見つけないと。
Here we go. We've caught up with it.
けど、高度もだいぶロスしたぞ。
To get back to the altitude that we lost, we search for the next thermal. In theory, they occur more easily above the ground that looks like soil or wide areas of asphalt, like parking lots.
あそこはどうだ？
Amane pointed toward the runway from which we'd taken off. It was a wide area of soil in the sunlight. Certainly met the conditions needed for thermals to be made easily. Alright, let's try it out!
あれ？なんか戻ってきたよ。着陸する気かな？
まさか、トラブル？葵くん！どうしたの？何があったの？
Don't panic, we're just searching for thermals.
トラブルじゃないのね。
9. That's right.
けどこの時間帯じゃ、サーマルを見つけるのも大変よね。ちょうどいい場所に、これから発達しそうな雲でもあればいいんだけど。
他に何か目印はないの？
あとは実際に飛んでみるしか。
もう少しなのに。双眼鏡貸して。何かないか探してみる。
Okay. We did get some lift above the runway after all. But it was weak. It wasn't enough to raise the heavy double-seater glider. It must be because the ground hasn't warmed up enough to create strong thermals. Damn it! Aren't there any around here? In the meantime, the glider's gradually descending. Whoa! Then, the wind came. Perhaps because of the influence of the morning glory, the airflow is being disturbed. The glider wobbles as it's hit by the strong winds, temporarily reducing the lift and causing another drop in altitude. I start to feel impatient. Should we have stayed over there after all?
でもそれだと。
The cloud from before is moving even further away from the direction we want to head in. Even if we can rise to the altitude we need, we'd be too late. How much time has passed since we took off? Meanwhile, the sky has become brighter and has changed from the morning glow to light blue.
届かないんだろうか。
Amani mumbled to herself, while looking up at the passenger cloud stretching across the sky. 9! That's not true! It's right in front of us! We'll do something about it. Kozuri and Ageha were also looking for clouds from the ground. We haven't reached the time limit yet.
やっぱりだいぶ高度を下げてる。サーマルを見つけられないのね。どうしよう。このままじゃあの綺麗な雲に届かないよ。
We'll figure something out.
頑張っても上昇気流が吹かないんじゃどうしようもないわね。トンビが飛んでるわ。
Huh?
グライダーも鳥さんみたいに羽をバサバサやって飛べればいいのにな。だからエンジンを乗せればいいのにって。あら、どうしたのヨルちゃん。
Eva?
こっちへ来るみたい。
Hmm?
ほんとだ、こっちに来る。 の空にもそれらしい雲なんてないのに。超頑張って
I appreciate the enthusiasm. You were right, Coultery.
間違いない。双眼鏡じゃ小さくしか見えなかったけど。
In response to Coultery's transmission, we headed across the lake towards Windmill Hill. There should be some thermals over there. But there aren't any clouds that seem to indicate thermals.
サーマルがあるからといって必ずしも雲が作られるわけじゃない。それに多分丘が斜面になっているせいだと思う。
Do you mean that thermals occur more easily above slopes?
ああ、太陽光は地表に対して斜めに降り注いでいるだろう。けど斜面になっていればその光を正面から受けられる。その分エネルギーが集中して温まりやすいんだ。
It's true. The sloping surface of the hill that we're heading towards is shining from being as direct light as the morning sun. Let's do it! How is it, Coultery?
いたいた、見つけた。さっきよりかなり高くまで上がってる。間違いない。トンビよ。
We can't confirm that from where we are right now, but it seems that a kite's flying above the hill. Kites are birds that glide to high altitudes using upward drafts. In other words, there is a thermal over there. However, that doesn't necessarily mean there's enough lift to raise a heavy double-seater glider. There's nothing else left for us to try. I didn't think of anything other than aiming for that point. Eventually, the glider crossed the lake and approached the air above Windmill Hill. Whoa! The variometer told us that the glider had dropped sharply. We've been caught in a downward draft? I panicked, and the next moment, we felt a... Wait a minute. Suddenly, it felt like we were being pushed from below, and the glider steadily floated upwards. Then, a little later, the variometer informs us that we are rising. We'd ridden a thermal. Oh, yeah. It's pretty strong. We can do this, Amane.
上がれそうなの？
They've got pretty strong lift. I think they can make it.
あまね先輩のこと頼んだわよ。
Leave it to me.
よーし、行ってこい。あの雲の向こうまで。
Yeah! On the wings that you guys made.
すごい。あんなに風に乗ってるだけなのに、どうしてあんなに高く飛べるの？理屈なら説明できるけど、聞きたい？いい。聞いてもわからないし、それにあんなの理屈で説明できるわけないと思う。理屈がないとあんな大きなもの飛べないわよ。すごいよ。すごい。
Before we knew it, the powerful thermals occurring above Windmill Hill had lifted us high up into the sky. We were getting closer and closer to the morning glory. We're getting closer, Amane. The clouds that from below looked small and intermittent were actually pretty big when we got close to them. I wonder how wide they are. At the very least, they'd comfortably be able to cover the width of this glider. They stretched out to around the distance needed to go diagonally across the lake.
少し遠いな。
It's okay. If we can keep going above the clouds, it should be easy to pass across them. The thermal that we were riding was pretty powerful. As Amane had just explained, the slope of the hill is hit directly by the sunlight, so it heats up quickly. In other words, that means the difference in temperature is bigger than compared to the surrounding area. If there's no difference in temperature, then thermals will not be created, and if the difference is big, then strong thermals will be made. The upward draft that Kotori found for us feels strong enough to take us all the way to the horizon. While this is happening, the sun is rising and the air temperature is increasing. Morning glory occurs for about 2 hours from the beginning of dawn. Come on! Come on! I'm getting impatient. However, if we try too hard, we'll lose balance and we might lose altitude. While checking the rate of ascent on the variometer, I turn the glider to aim for the core of the thermal. It's the most effective part. Eventually, the gliders that Amane and I were riding reached the altitude of morning glory that we were aiming for. Then, we'd soon risen above that and reached a position where we could view it from above. Yes! We freaking did it! Let's go! Look, Amane! Yeah! Yes! I knew she'd be looking at it, but I said it anyway. It's because I was so moved. Is there anyone who wouldn't be moved to see a spectacle like this? With the bluish-purple sky in the background, the passage of clouds shone as they were bathed in the pale pink sunlight. Words like wunderschön wouldn't really express it at all. The word that came to mind was divine. My trembling hands gripped the yoke to gain an altitude, as to allow us to stay above the clouds. I turned into the thermal. Did I fucking read that right? I glanced at the front seat, and I saw Amane from the side. Her eyes were open wide like little kids as she looked at the passage of clouds stretching across the sky. We did it. We did it. Amane, can you get the camera? Before we took off, Aga had given her a digital camera. She asked us to take a picture if we were able to fly above the morning glory. This was the perfect viewpoint looking across the clouds. Alright, let's go to that place. Amane nodded as if preparing herself. We didn't come here to look at the clouds. We came to pass across them. Once we'd gained enough altitude, I tilted the yoke and turned the glider. Now, it's time for us to go. The airflow here was calm, as we could fly without being shaken by crosswinds. In the upper parts of the sky, there were hardly any clouds, and the clear blue light gradient spread out in all directions. While paying attention to our rate of descent, we traveled along the space of crystal clear light. We're approaching the passage of light. A rolling airflow occurs around the clouds, and if we can ride that, we can pass along the passage of clouds as far as we want. Let's do this. We finally arrived. The morning glory was right there at our fingertips. And as I thought that, what the hell's happening? All of a sudden, it happened. As our view swung round, the divine road of cloud that should have been there in front of us in the space of a moment was getting further away. We suddenly lost lift, and then a few moments later, we realized that the glider was rapidly descending. What the fuck? That's not good! I quickly pulled at the yoke, but there was no response. The field of vision span round, and we couldn't even figure out if we were facing up or down. What is this? What's going on? Was ist los? Was ist passiert? Is that a stall? However, there were no signs that was gonna happen. It was just like... Yeah. It was just like there was no air and we lost all our lift. We're falling. Oh no. Oh no.
なんかあった
Oh no.
落ちてる嘘ちょっと双眼鏡貸してやばいどうしちゃったの葵くん応答して葵くん応答して
I can't deal with that right now! The surface of the lake appeared from the other side of the canopy. We were falling with the nose pointing straight down.
葵くん
I'll level it out! In the heat of the moment, I didn't know which controls I used. Anyway, I tried to lift the nose up and stabilize the wings. A shock ran through me that felt like the fuselage might be crushed. To us, the pilots, the vibrations passed through our bodies, and for a moment, I thought that we'd crashed. Looks like it. The nose and the wings leveled out, and the glider had gained lift and was floating again. We were 200 meters from the surface of the water. In a moment, we'd fallen almost 800. Holy shit. If it was a few seconds later, it would have been too late. My whole body trembled with fear and relief. Are you alright, Amane?
なんとか
Her shoulders were shaking, but her reply was okay. What the hell happened just now? There were no signs that the airflow had become separated from the main wings, in other words, a stall. It's often said that it can occur without warning, but for it to occur somewhere that had such stable airflow?
強い下降気流に巻き込まれたのかもしれない
You mean just now? If that were true, it was pretty strong. Does shit like this usually happen?
夏の間湖や大きな河川の中央付近では時折ダウンバーストが発生することもあるらしい
Downbursts are powerful downward drafts. If a downburst, a giant mass of air, falls to Earth, it's powerful enough to cause severe damage. If we were swallowed by something like that, we wouldn't stand a chance, would we? The place where we were was in the vicinity of the center of a lake, like Amane was saying. We were so distracted by the morning glory that we lost sight of our own position. Because of the lake, the air cools, and it's possible that a strong downward draft would be created. If the air itself falls down, a glider which floats using the power of the air would have no choice but to be taken down with it. 'cause that might be why we lost lift and fell, suddenly, without any warning signs.
葵くん、あまねちゃん、お願い、応答して。
We heard Koteri's tearful voice over the radio. We're okay. Somehow we managed to level it out.
一体何があったの？
We don't know. Amane said we might have been caught in a strong downward draft. A little more and we'd be upside down in the fucking lake.
こら、小鳥の心臓が止まっちゃうから。
Es tut mir leid. But we're alright now.
今の何が起こったの？さあ、わからない。故障したのか、あるいは強い下降気流に巻き込まれたのか。
You seem to know quite a bit about this kind of thing.
ええ、なんとか落ちる前に立て直したようね。危なかったわ。もう少し遅れたら死んでたかも。やっぱり人が空を飛ぶのって、そうね。翼を持たない人間が空に憧れるのは勇気がいるし危険なこと。でもだからこそ飛べない人間は。姉さん？
Hmm? The morning glory! I quickly looked above. The place where we were just now is much further away. It's dazzling to think that we were so high up. Let's go up one more time!
無理だ、葵くん。もう間に合わない。
Wirklich? We won't know unless we try! As I shouted, I looked to the sky. At some point, the dawn sky disappeared, and the sky was now filled with a clear blue color. Exposed to the sunlight, the passage of cloud was nothing like it was at the beginning, and was thinning out and gradually disappearing. I turned the glider towards Windmill Hill. If we have the powerful thermal from before, we might just be able to make it. I'll take Amane's, yeah?
いいんだ、もう。
But...
あそこへ行くことはできなかったけど、イスカが見せたかった景色をほんの少し見ることができた。それで十分だよ。
Amane looked through the canopy at the clouds above.
これでさよならだ。
Amane's whisper, along with the passage of cloud, faded away into the sky. And you know what? I think I'm gonna leave it off right there. That episode was a roller coaster, but we finally got to see that, if even for a moment, we finally achieved it. So from here, I guess I'll leave the rest off for another time. So until then, it's been your German boy. Auf Wiedersehen.